question is like, people, well, in the Quran it's written that we have revealed Torah and Gospel. There's like they're going after each other, and then it says like the Quran is revealed to you as some kind of authority after other Gospel and everything else. So that means if there's something that contradicts the Quran in a Gospel or Torah, it's wrong, right?
Yes. If something contradicts the Quran, revelation, and it comes from not the Torah and Gospel, because you don't have the preserved Torah and Gospel anyways. It comes from what you call the Bible. We don't say that is the Torah and the Gospel. So if it comes from something that was corrupted and changed, which people refer to as the Bible today, yes, we reject it. We don't even know who wrote this. Why would we accept something that goes against revelation of God, and we don't even know who authored it? Why would we accept it?
But the Gospels were written at least like 40 years after the death of Jesus. Not.
And who told you that?
It is it is everywhere. It is a fact.
Was everywhere?
Well, on the internet. There's
what is everywhere on the internet? Can you be more precise?
Well, there have been sources that they have been written Gospels. At least they have been Gospels. Well, on internet, I can say what sources exactly, but at least have been.
Then I would recommend, with all due respect, I don't know if you're Christian or not. I'm saying that you're an agnostic, as many Christians do. But whether you are a Christian or agnostic is irrelevant. Where is the sources? Can you produce the sources for us? If you don't have sources, then you cannot make a claim. If you're not familiar yourself with the subject, then you cannot be saying, "Oh, it's everywhere on the internet." You know that's not an argument, right? So if I were to ask you, because you don't even know Gospels, different Gospels are not all written in the same time. To say, "Oh, Gospels," and be general like this as well, and some Gospels copied from other Gospels. This is a whole science called textual criticism. Now, my question to you, if I were to ask you, what is the earliest manuscript written from the Bible? Do you know?
Early manuscripts in the Old Testament and New Testament.
Which the New Testament, of course. We're talking about Christianity. We're talking about the Gospels. We're not talking about the Old Testament now. When it comes to New Testament, because you're saying it's everywhere in the internet 40 years.
Well, at least they have been around at the time when Islam was founded, no?
That's not the question I'm asking. There was no Arabic translated gospel at the time of the Prophet ﷺ in Arabia. It was not yet translated. But that's not what we're talking about anyways. I'm asking you, because you said it's 40 years and it's everywhere in the internet. Now let's talk manuscripts, because manuscripts are the proof. This is what we call evidence. When you say something is this age or that age, you need to have something written from that time. Hello?
I was just looking up, and it is written. I don't know, like, well,
before looking. Okay, you cannot be in the middle of a conversation with someone like Googling something else, you know. All right, go ahead. What do you want to say?
I already forgot what I was trying to say. Well, I'm saying that if there is something that is not contradicting, like, the Quran is not contradicting something which is written in Gospels, can we have, like, can you say that it's wrong or right if you don't have anything written about this?
No, I'm sorry, but we're not going to move from the point that we were in. Like, I asked you a question.
What point?
I asked you a question. Was the earliest manuscript written from the New Testament?
And I can say.
You didn't give me the answer, so I was still waiting for that.
I honestly can say and cite, the sources of this, because I just looked it up, and they have been written like at least 40 years after the death of Christ. And what is the manuscript, which is the oldest?
No, that was my question to you.
I don't know.
You're asking me my question.
Where can I get the answer? That's what I'm asking.
Okay, so you're not aware. First, I want to take you step by step. You agree, you do not know what is the earliest manuscript of the New Testament?
No.
Okay, so then you agree with me that it's not logical or reasonable to say it's 40 years or 70 years when you don't know. Is that fair?
I don't know, but when I looked up in Google, it was written 40 or 70 years. But maybe it's not right. But I don't know where to look up
Sure. So
to find the truth.
If Google said I was a potato, it does not mean I'm a potato. Anyone can make a website, by the way, and you can research and you can find something in Google. Anyone can do that. Wikipedia, for example, can be edited by individuals. Well, as long as you add a source, whatever that source is, however reliable it is, you can edit it. Google is not how people do research. Yeah, just because you read something on Google does not mean it's true. Do you agree with that?
Well, yes.
Just Google right now. Google pictures of UFOs and aliens, and now aliens exist, because you will find websites telling you that.
Right.
Okay.
But where can we find them? Then true sources. That's the question.
No. Please, first agree with that. Before we do that, do you agree it is not correct to claim it's 40 or 70 years when you don't know the sources, just because you read it on Google?
Right now, I don't know the sources.
And therefore, you should not be making the claim it's 40 or 70 years. Do you agree?
Yes.
Okay. So now let's ignore this 40, 70 years, which is baseless, just something you read on YouTube. When it comes to the earliest written, you have something very small called P52. Now you can research now, if you'd like on Google, P52 parchment, which is as big as a card, essentially, and has no relevant important information. And this is not from the first century. It's nothing from the first century. So the first 100 years, there's nothing. This is from the second century, late second century, etc. This is talking about carbonation. Now, the earliest full manuscript you have is from the 4th century. It's called the Codex Sinaiticus. That's the earliest. You can, again, Google. I know.
No, I will not Google right now. So it's the early manuscript of Gospels.
Just to finish. So there is nothing from the first 100 years, or you can even say nearly 200 years of Jesus that can be relied on for Christianity at all. So there's nothing as 40 or 70 years. So coming back now to the argument or the question you're asking in the beginning, just to make it full circle. When the Quran says something, we have writings that is nearly 400 years written after Jesus by unknown people, and it contradicts the Quran, which is God's revelation. Yes, we reject it, because that's an unknown source that came hundreds of years later and was not an eyewitness, and it contradicts God's revelation. Why would we accept it?
So the claim that the Gospels were written 40, 70 years, which Google says, is not right, right?
Yes, it is not right. The reason it is not right, it is a claim without proof. Anyone can make a claim. I can say these Gospels were written under the life of Jesus himself. Now, unless I produce proof, how is that the case?
But when
whoever talks about the 40 or 70 years specifically for Mark being the earliest gospel, not 40, whoever talks about that, they talk about what they think when Mark wrote the gospel. Now, that original written, which is what you're referring to, 70 years, which is only assumptions because it doesn't exist. So that what they refer to as the original does not exist. They say we don't have it. They say we have a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy. So whatever the original said, even if we were to accept that it was written, which we don't have any proof for that, even if we accepted the original was written 70 years, we don't have the original. We have something else that's changed. So we don't know what the original said if it was written 70 years. So that claim is just a claim that they make.
But can we know when they were written, these Gospels that in Bible, Matthew, John, Mark?
I just told you.
Like,
whatever you have in your hand now, the earliest form of it is the Codex Sinaiticus. This is the earliest form. Nearly 400 years after Jesus.
400 years. It's an early manuscript, right? Or not manuscript?
Absolutely not. 400 years separate from Jesus. Written by unknown people. How is that? This is the earliest. Oh, I don't know if you're saying, is that the earliest? Yes, that's the earliest. It's not early, but it's the earliest you have. Imagine you die today, or I die today, 400 years later, someone who never met me, who we don't know, is written in my life. Would we accept what he says? Just a random person.
No.
Yeah, so that's what the gospel says.
So, okay. But they have, the Christians, the early Christians, actually, I don't have any problem. I'm not saying that it's true or not, but I just wanted to know how to find the true sources. That's why I was asking about the Gospels, just in the future for myself. The early Christians, they have some belief, right? So from where they derive this belief, if they haven't like any manuscript, it was like some oral tradition, because they have been early Christians.
Yeah, what's interesting is, for me, is where someone says, I'm agnostic, but 24/7 they're talking about Christianity for some reason. If you're asking me the question,
First,
is where do how do Christians justify their positions? I would say that's not for me.
I was asking from the Islamic point of view, just because I started with this claim that, for example, Quran says that there's a gospel and Torah, and you say that the Bible, well, in a way it have been preserved right now, has nothing to do with the gospel and Torah, which is like, in the Quran. But then I say, like, the Christ, the Jesus, and he also is like, even in Quran, it says that he has no sin and he was the righteous and he was one of the major prophets.
What a great thing for an agnostic to say, Talk about the Gospels and how the Quran affirms the Gospels and Jesus being sinless. You are just studying agnostic, of course. Yeah, you're just studying. Yes. Continue what you're saying about Christianity. Go ahead.
No, I'm not saying just about Christianity, because it's mean contradiction. I'm asking.
You can ask doubts about Islam and Christian positions so far as an agnostic. No, but okay, go ahead. Yes. Where does the Quran say Jesus is sinless? No, let's take what you're saying. Where does the Quran say Jesus is sinless?
Jesus has no sin. It's not in the Quran.
Where, you tell me, you're making the claim, right? Remember what I said? Google again. Where does the Quran say Jesus has no sin? Please show me.
Well, it doesn't say that Jesus has no sin.
So why did you say it says?
Well, Jesus is one of the 5 major prophets, right?
No, you said, before we move into a complete different question about Jesus being for the 5 major prophets or not, you said the Quran says Jesus is sinless. Then when I asked you, where does it say that? You said it doesn't say.
I'm not
so
saying that. I can't provide the evidence. I don't have it in my mind, the exact surah, but I can.
There isn't a surah that says that. That's a false claim.
Okay, but
you can Google. Would you like to Google? Go ahead.
No.
See if Google is going to help.
Okay, but Jesus was one of the major 5 prophets. He, right? And he is a Messiah, right? Even in the Quran.
Yes.
And he will come back and judge the world, right? So what I'm trying to say, I will be like.
What do you mean by judge the world? He's not going to judge the dead, for example. He's only going to judge whoever is living at his time. He's not going to judge the people who will resurrect later on. Only God will judge humanity.
Okay.
He will only judge when he rules, as just the king today of any country or judges and rules. He's going to do the same thing.
Yes,
not like unique to Jesus or something.
It's not about
Go ahead.
No, I'm saying that it's not really about Christian Islam, but the Christianity, Islam have different. That's what I'm saying. And what I'm trying to say is that evidently Allah was pleased with Jesus, right? He was one of his major prophets, and he did everything right, and it was written in the Quran. But it's the people who corrupted this religion or his message, right?
What religion are you talking about?
Well, not religion, but his message.
Which message? Which one?
Well, which Jesus have to them.
The people have misattributed things to Jesus. Yes. They put lies in his mouth. Yes.
But
as they did with other prophets of God as well.
But why would they do that?
For their own gains and desires. So when you had Constantine, for instance, they had an empire which was Greek, having already Greek beliefs, like the Trinity, sons of God, daughters of God, and Zeus and Thor and all of that. And now they have Christianity, and they want to introduce their own traditions into Christianity, so they change Christianity. Very simple, easy.
But
Paul, for example,
really,
when he was lying, he wanted people to accept Christianity. So he said to the Jews, you don't need to follow the law anymore. He just said, you don't need to follow the law because it's easier. If I say to you, you don't need to do commandments of God anymore, sounds easier. Let's accept.
yes.
So for human desires, people corrupt and change. You have to look at which specific change that they did. I'm going to explain to you why they did. And when it comes to the identity of Jesus and the Trinity, as I told you, the Constantine, and you had the Roman Empire accepting Christianity, they had Greek beliefs, and they introduced it into their religion. That's why there is no trace of this idea of the Trinity or divinity of Jesus before 381 and 325. You don't have no Trinity. No church father spoke about Trinity.
Yes.
None of them said the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit are co-equal, co-eternal, specifically.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. I don't even want to go there. But not recently, but they have found some manuscript in somewhere in Jerusalem, dated back in 230, when there was inscripted that Jesus is God. And
okay, I'll give you the answer before I ask the question. The answer is Google. Now I'll ask the question.
But it's everywhere.
Found what? Where?
If you, I can really find it, and but I don't want, because you're right. It's not about Christianity, but I'm just comparing because.
No, I just asked a question. Who found which manuscript that was dated to 250 or whatever you said? Where? Look, I'm really asking a very basic question. This is an ABC question. Who, where, and what?
Okay, I will find right now. Okay. So the name is that they have given, it's the Megiddo Mosaic.
What? Sorry, what? Can you spell that for me, please? Huh?
The Megiddo.
That's not the letters. M what?
M E G.
Yes.
E I.
E I.
Yes, E. D O. In Mosaic.
Okay, sure. Now, where is any reliable websites that are not Christian website, like Museum of the Bible or something? Where is the reliable people that carbon dated this to the date that you said? You said when? When did you say? What was the dating?
They said, it's not I'm who say this, but they say that it's dated back to 230.
240.
Yes, that's what they say.
Who's they?
Well, the people who find.
Yeah, who are they? Who discovered this manuscript? Where can we see it?
Well,
where does it say inscriptions Jesus is God? I'm looking right now, by the way. I googled the name of the manuscript. I find here the Megiddo Church, which is 305. So if the church was 305, I don't know how the manuscript is 60 years before. And the second thing is, I don't see any manuscripts there that talks about the specific manuscript, except one Christian or two Christian websites. Where is that writing that Jesus is God? I don't see that at all.
Well, it has even been it was in the US, and they have this manuscript. Well,
all right,
I didn't find them, right?
All I see of that thing is just a picture of two fishes or something. Anyways, look, I'm gonna let the people. Sure.
And there's written that Jesus is God
in the fish, right? Yes. Okay, sure. I will let the people go and do the research on that, which I'm sure is completely unreliable. And even if it was true, we have this writing nearly 300 years after Jesus, written by we don't know who. Someone said Jesus is God. I don't know what that proves. Some heretical group sometimes said that, which means what? But there isn't even a manuscript saying that. That's a claim I'm going to make. But anyways, I'll have to let you go now because there are other people in the backstage. And we got to move on into other conversations. All right, Scarlett, good luck with your research and Google endeavors. Right? Bye-bye.
يا دعاة رب السماء يا من صنعتم في الأرض نورا يا قلوبا فيها الوفاء بشركم اليوم السرورا